On today's episode, we'll be discussing Orange County's recent vote to join the lawsuit against California's sanctuary laws.
We must be certain that we are not providing assistance to undocumented immigrants who have chosen not to follow the rules.
Plus, we'll be exchanging views on the potential historic meeting between the leaders of North and South Korea.
And finally, we'll be bringing you the latest on some CSUF and local news. All this and more on today's episode of The Report. Welcome to The Report, Cal State Fullerton's premier source for news, views, and info. I'm Abby Fernandez.
I'm Leslie Duarte.
I'm Shannon McKercher.
And I'm Zach Slopemaker.
Before we delve into our first hot topic, we'd like to invite you to be a part of the discussion on this semester's season. Click in the link in the caption of any of our report episodes to fill out a secure Google form with your opinion on any controversial issue that we've talked about now or in the past, as many of these issues are reoccurring and evolving, ranging from gun control to abortion, climate change, or the state of politics. All we ask is to please keep it civil.
The Orange County Board of Supervisors voted Tuesday to join a lawsuit from the Trump administration fighting California's pro-immigration policy. Earlier this month, U.S. Attorney Jeff Sessions announced a lawsuit that would take over California's sanctuary laws. The lawsuit is over parts of 3 California laws that are intended to protect undocumented immigrants from the federal immigration officials. Those laws include Senate Bill 54, which limits the cooperation between local law enforcement and federal immigration authorities. AB 450, which forbids employers from cooperating with federal immigration officials and can fine them if they fail to comply, and AB 103, which allows state officials to inspect federal facilities in California that house immigrants. The supervisors will vote a move by the Los Alamitos City Council last week. Orange County created Proposition 187, a ballot that denies public services like schooling and health care to people in the country illegally, and was approved by voters turned down in court. Los Alamitos, Orange County's second smallest city, is the first to approve an ordinance to opt out from California's sanctuary law. Other cities taking action include Buena Park, Yorba Linda, Mission Viejo. The most recent Orange County city to join the fight is Huntington Beach, which voted 6-1 to sue the state over SB 54. So California is primarily a blue state. I kind of want to know, we don't have a lot of time, but what are some of, just briefly, the pros and cons to having California be a sanctuary state in the first place? And then I want to touch on what you guys think about these. There's 3 million people that are protesting against California's own kind of, they do not want to follow the sanctuary law. What are your guys' thoughts on that?
So some of the pros from a conservative perspective of this is, right, we have established that California is a blue state, and we know that's because of younger voters taking initiative and whatnot. But when it comes to why this is happening, I think from a pro side for conservative is we have a very large homeless population here, essentially. And when we are trying to condense our size down a little bit, from a pro side, Orange County taking in that red back into the blue of California is our way of trying to limit our size. So that's a pro from a conservative standpoint. We have the highest,
in the country, and then yet we want to kind of bring on more than we can handle.
Really quick, I want to give sort of pros and cons just to kind of simplify this a little bit more. And of course, it's not certain, this is not, you know, stuck to it. There are many people that can consider these pros or cons. So one of them says safer. You know, it encourages a good relationship between undocumented people and or immigrants with law enforcement, right? So sanctuary states or cities encourage this, right? The con to that could possibly be that they harbor criminals, right? It's been seen, stats have been seen that, you know, sanctuary states do essentially bring in, you know, what they call in quotes criminals, right? So another pro, immigrants are legally protected by the 10th Amendment, right? By staying here, whatnot, or doing this. But that can also mean that it can prevent the local and state police officers from doing their jobs, right? So there's a lot of like this, but this, right? Whatever be the case. I think that one of the important things that you were mentioning, Shannon, or what you were asking, is the sort of the double-sidedness of, you know, this state, right? Or even this part of the state, the southern part, right? We have Orange County, which is super red, despite how we voted, right? Because what you were saying, Zach, I think it is. It's the younger people that are actually taking initiative, but the people that really are out there making these, propositions are the older people that are really red. So I think that that's the biggest issue, right?
We're going to see momentum gain if we see other cities jump on board with this. And it's going to be very confusing for a lot of people trying to decide where they want to live. When it comes into making lawmaking and schooling and healthcare and whatnot, it's going to shift things around a little bit and make some decisions for some people that maybe don't want to come to Orange County because of this. And
I do want to make a point on a clear exemption on the sanctuary city or state. What it means, sanctuary state means that they will not do federal government's job, period. Not that they will not. In fact, there's an exemption to the bill allowing local agencies to transfer individuals to federal immigration authorities if they are violent criminals. So it does not exempt from violent criminals, and those are the people that ICE needs to get out of the country, not like I didn't have a driver's license and I went to jail.
If they commit a crime, it exempts them from asking at all anything about their status.
But if whether they were a violent criminal or just like pulled over for a parking ticket.
But what you're saying is that you don't even get to that point. There's no way of knowing that.
Hold them for 48 hours.
No, but that's what this bill is saying, that this bill is saying that they will not deport them themselves. ICE can come and do their job, but they will not deport them themselves.
For 48 hours, and then, but isn't it not allowing ICE to come either, right?
I'm just wondering, guys, sidetracking here. I'm just wondering how, what are we going to do? Because Orange County, all of these cities are jumping on board, and we were this once, and now we're this, and is it going to fall back?
It's weird because it's like we have like a sanctuary state within a sanctuary state now, and we're trying to be sanctioned from an already sanctuary state.
California is saying we're not going to follow the federal law, and then these cities are saying, well, we're not going to abide by following what
the local or the state law.
It's confusing, and I think something needs to happen because
it's on its way. There's going to be a climax with all of this coming very soon, I feel.
There has to be something put into place because it's honestly getting out of hand.
To be honest, I think it's more about this is these cities saying this is where we vote, this is who we are, and identifying themselves, and we already know that. We already know.
Yeah, but you can't have a state say I'm not going to follow federal law, and they're still being federally funded, and then have these cities within the state say, well, now we're against that. You know what I mean? So it's just so confusing.
It's very messy, especially when it comes to DACA and immigrants and. When we talk anything state, guys, it's very difficult, especially with this all coming to kind of a very big climax very soon. But if we look into national news, there's some interesting stuff going on with North and South Korea. On to the next hot topic. The highly anticipated summit between the leaders of North and South Korea will take place April 27th and is the first such meeting since 2007. The two sides have held talks in the demilitarized zone to work out the details for the summit, which will be held at the Freedom House on the southern side of Truce Village in DMZ. The talks come after Kim Jong-un's surprise a trip to Beijing, where he reportedly said he's open to denuclearization. But bringing together officials from these two divided countries still takes a lot of coordination, and there's still more work to be done before the two leaders can come together for these talks. President Moon Jae-in has said that it is his goal when he sits down with Kim Jong-un to talk about not just the denuclearization or about the improvement of the relationship with North and South Korea, but also to create a time-right kind of atmosphere for an even more historic meeting that could take place potentially as soon as May. That's when we could see Kim Jong-un sitting down with U.S. President Donald Trump himself. The DMZ is a village that straddles with the 30th parallel, where there stands one of the most heavily fortified borders in the world. So, of course, it's there that the delegates came to an agreement. So guys, in speaking of terms of what this means for the U.S., this North and South agreement that we could be coming to, what do you guys think this does for us?
Well, firstly, I want to know what is in it for Kim Jong-un. Honestly, what's the trade? This guy is talking, or they're saying that there could be a possible denuclearization. What is he going to gain from that? So many years that he's been, at this. how? What? Why the change of mind now?
Do you think he's being cornered though? Like he's finally like I have to maybe give in a little bit now because.
Well, there were
but to who?
sanctions.
To like the world in general?
Yeah,
that's
China
what I mean.
put heavy sanctions.
I'm
as well as the
not.
US
I'm not
Yeah.
buying it. I don't think that. I think he's going to pull the wool over all of our eyes. I think that a good point made by Kevin Rudd, he's an Australian Prime Minister, said that for 25 years. This regime has been nothing but trying to survive and having a nuclear issue, and they're putting resources into it. After 25 years, they're just going to abandon that in one or two talks with North Korea, China, and the U.S.
I still think it's good though because the U.S. it kind of gives everyone a little bit of ease of mind, because.
Something's happening.
Something's happening. Maybe they're not all on the same
trust
page,
that.
but I don't either. But at least they're talking about it. It's coming to the table. They're talking about it. They're at least acknowledging that, hey, we kind of need to be on the same page. But like, I agree. I
He's
think
not a good guy though, and I just
Exactly.
don't. I don't
But
trust his
Is
ambitions.
anyone really SAG? I mean, I think that
No,
it is.
but I
It's
think
the dirty
especially
politics.
this guy
exactly, that's
is really
politics.
cruel.
I mean,
So,
I think
I
it's
mean-
it's better than what's our second option, right? It's
mean,
better
true.
to delegate than
It's-
to go.
And
It's
at
a
least
good
they're all-
direction in which to
Right.
move. I see
And they're
what you're
all
saying,
willing
yeah.
to meet up, right? Because we heard Trump didn't want to meet, but at least now they're all willing to meet up and talk and discuss.
Do you guys think that these talks are going to happen in May?
I would
think
think
it's
so.
soon.
I think that Trump
I think they should
specifically
move it back.
got
It's supposed
rid
to
of
be
who he got
April
rid of so he
27.
could.
Well, with us, with the U.S., it's in May.
I think it's too soon. I think they should move back. And Sanders said on national TV, she said that, and that was still not determined, and that they would move forward with it in the future. So I think it's too soon, but okay.
I think he's
I mean,
plotting
I
a
don't-
twist, though.
I
He's
definitely
like,
think it
it's
will
gonna happen.
happen.
I think on
that
the outside-
Trump's preparing for that.
Yeah.
I don't think so, guys.
No.
I think it's
Why?
all
Why is that?
facade. I don't know. It just seems so surreal. Like I'm sitting here and I read all of these news, and the president of China. I mean, it just doesn't make sense. It doesn't click, and I feel like it's gonna fall through. I don't want it to because obviously it's something maybe not in a positive move, but it's something. Yes, we haven't seen anything. No one's really talked to this guy before. I mean, can we talk some sense into him? I just don't think it's gonna happen.
No, I feel like Trump's trying to gear up for this. I think he's been trying since he's been getting rid of people to make his cabinet someone that can work with North Korea. Why would he? Why else do it? Why else clear out the old blood?
Gotta make a bet,
we
guys.
saw their Twitter war. It's also
Not over this kind of stuff.
I know that's terrible.
we also saw their Twitter wars. So we have to we have to be really well informed. And I think May is too soon, but I think we should have the talks because what else are we gonna do?
Certainly, in some other news, campus news that is, CSUF associated students apparently violated a California open meeting law over the last few weeks. They failed to post agendas for 3 closed meetings they held. The Elections Judicial Council held these meetings on March 7th and March 14th. The meetings involved the Associated Students President and Vice President candidates, Celine Mubay and Colin Ecobellis, respectively. The Elections Judicial Council failed to post the agendas for the meetings as required by the Gloria Romero Open Meetings Act, which is a California law regulating student governments. As a result of the closed meetings, Mubay and Ecobellis were disqualified from the elections due to the spam emails sent to the students by the candidates.
On March 24th, survivors of the Parkland school shooting mobilized to launch the March for Our Lives protest, a national-wide protest against gun violence here in Orange County. The kids and families in city of Santa Ana also joined the rally. Reporter Mia Agravado has more on this story.
Never again! Never again! Never again! Never again!
Students, parents, and teachers from Orange County gathered for the March for Our Lives event. Santa Ana was one of the many cities across the nation that rallied for stricter gun laws. People young and old brought signs to protest the recent school shootings and to mourn the victims of gun violence.
We're all tired. We have to go back in, and no longer is it about how we're going to teach better, but it's about when we're walking from one class to the other, how we're going to keep that many kids safe in a very short amount of time if you start hearing the bullets fly. And it's no way to educate, and it's no way for young people to learn. It's enough already.
I recently, actually on Friday, did a shooter drill in my class, and my teacher was asking us, what are you going to use when a shooter comes in here? And I never want to have to think about that again.
I wanted to come down here and make the case to folks here in the southern part of the state, particularly in Orange County, to be honest with you. It's changing dramatically in Orange County. But you know, this has been stubborn in the past in terms of some of the gun safety legislation. I just know from I authored Prop 63, a very comprehensive gun safety initiative that got rid of large capacity magazine clips and is now requiring background checks on ammunition. We still have a little bit of work to do in the county.
Now turning to some national news. On April 2nd, over 30 teachers at Muskogee High, Oklahoma walked out to petition the government to increase education funding. Over 30 Muskogee teachers joined tens of thousands of supporters at the state capitol as part of a statewide walkout. According to the Washington Post, several people carrying signs with slogans saying, quote, straight out of supplies, end quote, and quote, don't make me use my teacher voice, end quote. This walkout could stretch for days and is a part of a fight striking states where tax cuts have tanked state funding for schools. Teachers in Muskogee are even saying that the gym roof is leaking, causing the volleyball games to get rained on. The basics such as textbooks, printer ink, and curriculum materials are in short supply. Many of them refuse to return to work until funding is increased. This walkout is a significant impact to gain financial support for education. Way to go, teachers, for actually caring and making a stand to further students' education.
For all you binge watchers out there like myself, the CW is expanding its programming to 6 nights of original TV shows. Unfortunately, not all the series have been renewed, but here are some that have made the cut. Black Lightning, Dynasty, all 5 of their DC superhero shows, Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, Riverdale, and Jane the Virgin. You can find the full list of the shows on the CW website. Hopefully your favorite show made it, but if not, you can find some on Netflix or even the free CW app. Well, that's all the time we have for you folks today on this episode of The Report. Make sure you tune in next time for more news, views, and info. I'm Zach Slopemaker.
I'm Abby Fernandez.
I'm Leslie Duarte.
And I'm Shannon McKercher. Stay fresh, Fullerton.